Hey, how's it going? I'm Ben Lindell, and today I'm going to be showing you one of my favorite things to do while mixing, and that's beefing up my drum sound. I'm going to be working with a real drum loop and applying some EQ, compression, saturation, maybe some parallel processing, and I'm going to do this all with one plugin. Let's get started. So to get the punchy drum sounds that I'm looking for, while just using one plugin, I'm going to need to use a channel strip. And today I'm going to be using the Softube Summit Audio Grand Channel. So you're going to notice that this plugin has an EQ up at the top, a compressor below that, and some extra controls at the very bottom. First, I want to dial in the sound of my compressor. I want to bring out some more character, so I'm going to exaggerate the room tones, and I also want to add some punch. So I'm going to start with an obnoxious amount of compression and then dial it back a little bit. So as you can hear, my drums now have a lot of character. The room tone is really coming out, but I've lost all my transients and I don't really have any punch left in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the attack setting and bring some of my punch back. So first with the fast attack. And now with the slow attack. So with the slow attack, the compressor is allowing my transients to pass and my drums are punchy again. So now I want to play with the release setting just to see what effect it has on my drums. So here's with a fast release. And here's a slow release. So you can hear how I lost all the room tone and character that I had gotten before. I'm going to leave the release on fast. So far I've got a nice punchy drum sound with lots of color and room tone to it thanks to my slow attack and fast release settings. But I'm kind of feeling like the kick drum's a little bit choked. So to fix that, I'm going to start using a high pass sidechain filter so the compressor stops reacting so much to the kick drum. Let's check out what that sounds like. So you can hear that the compressor isn't reacting as much to the kick drum anymore, but the snare drum still gives it a nice buoyancy and room tone. So again, here's without. And with. So I feel like I'm losing a little bit of the intensity of the compressor with that filter setting, so I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. Whenever I'm trying to get a really punchy drum sound, I always find myself using parallel processing. That way I can blend in my really compressed, beefy drums along with my uncompressed drums. Now the cool thing about this plugin is that parallel processing is built right into it. So as I turn up the parallel inject knob, you're going to start hearing some of my dry, uncompressed drums getting blended in with my compressed drums. Now if I go all the way to dry, we'll have just the plain uncompressed drums. And if I leave it on wet, just the compressed. And then somewhere in the middle, I get a little bit of both. That gives me a nice, open, natural sounding drums. Lots of tone, lots of punch. It's a good combination of everything. So let's see how far we've come. First, let's listen in bypass. And now with my beefy compression settings. Now that I'm hearing all this great room tone on my drums, I can hear a few adjustments I want to make with EQ. So by default, my EQ is after my compressor. And I'm going to start off by adding a little bit of bottom to the kick drum. Now that the compressor is bringing out so much room tone, I'm hearing just a little too much snare ring. So let me see if I can EQ some of that out. So now that I have that a little bit more under control, I just want to add a little more shimmer to the highs. That nice little shimmery boost to the high end just makes the hi-hats a little bit prettier sounding. Now I know I boosted the bass earlier, which accentuated the kick drum, but now I feel like it's a little too fat and I kind of want to tighten it up a little bit. So to do that, instead of dialing back my bass EQ, I'm actually going to use a little bit of a high pass filter. Check it out. Cool, the kick drum sounds nice and tight. Now let's see what this sounded like without any EQ. And with the EQ. Now the last thing I like to play with is the saturation control. Let's hear what it sounds like completely clean and then completely saturated. So as you can hear, when I use a lot of saturation, all my transients are getting rounded out and I'm getting a lot of distortion. I think I'm going to stick with that somewhere in the middle. That sounds great to me. So now let's get a sense of how far we've come. Here's the dry drum sound. And now with both the EQ and compression engaged. Again, with no effect. And again with the EQ and compression. So as you can hear, we made quite a journey, from these very normal sounding drums to these super colorful, punchy, beefy drums, and I did it all with one plugin. So, till next time.